Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the special edition of Politics Today, live on China's television. I'm Sean Kimaloe for you here. We're on the last lap of this program, just before we go to the top of the hour when the news at 10, China's television's flagship news will come up. Well, this is a very crucial aspect of this program. A lot of rumors, lies, misinformation, and disinformation. Yes, there is a difference between misinformation and disinformation, of course. If you mistakenly or you gave a wrong information, that might be misinformation. But if you intentionally wanted to confuse or to dissuade or to give out false information deliberately, that's disinformation. And they have a lot of effect on the electoral process. And a lot of that has been happening. So what makes this election very interesting is also that we've got a league, a coalition of fact checkers, and they're here. I have one of the senior officials of that association, and in fact, he's the country director of Africa Check, Mr. David Ajikobi, is live for us. Thanks so much, David, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
On this end. You've discovered quite a lot, isn't it? Since getting on.
It's been a very interesting day, actually.
Yeah. But how much of misinformation or disinformation do you think get into our election?
I think that for context, if you look at what I've been covering elections since 2011. So as at 2015, 11, it wasn't a big deal. In fact, as at 2019, we now decided to add it to our peace accord. In 2023, it became a very big part that even INEC said we were worried about this problem. Yeah. And now even in this election today, you see that when the peace accord was signed, the third line was about disinformation and misinformation because it affects the conduct, the results, the process, and even the aftermath of the elections. If you remember what happened in some parts of the north where we had a lot of post-election violence, it was based on what people were saying about the number of votes cast, number of or the actors involved in that process. So we have seen evidence from way back that it is a big problem for democracy, it's a big problem for our elections, and we think we need to have an intervention.
Well, I mean, you said you found out quite a few of that. This is has gone viral.
Yes.
And I mean, it read that ahead of Ekiti state governorship elections slated for June 20, some people have started collecting food items from politicians. Remember, bandits won't collect food items and 5K as ransom when insecurity hits you. Even those politicians bribing you right now won't rescue you. Hashtag Oyekotiye or something.
Oyekotiye. Yes.
Jesus wept. 1 kg semo, no, they said 2 bandits. This was a picture, right? That
yes,
you found out.
Yeah, that went viral. And the idea behind this is that whoever posted this was being, was trying to manipulate people's sentiments. That's people are now collecting this. But you use this particular photo. And we as fact checkers from the Nigerian Fact Checking Coalition, we do narrative mapping, but we first look at the picture. Where did this come from? Is this true? Is this related to Ekiti, for example? Yes. Don't forget that the concept of stomach infrastructure actually came from
stomach infrastructure.
In 2014 from
and the Boko Sebe is a very popular one here too.
So you can imagine that this keys into that narrative. And for people who are in the diaspora or even who are at home here, it can create some narrative that is not. So if you look at the debunk that we did, this picture is actually true. But it was taken in June 19, 2026, and it was about Oyo. It had nothing to do with Ekiti. So that is one of the markers of what we're seeing in the Ekiti elections now, that we are going to be seeing old videos and old pictures from different places that will be brought into the election from today into tomorrow.
So this was taken, not even this year?
At all. If you look at this was taken by people who were showing their support for Sharafa Ali, an APC politician
in Oyo
State.
Yeah. And not related to...
Nothing whatsoever, yes.
So people need to be very careful.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I mean, that's an example. Yes. And I know in the coming days, we'll probably need to find out more on what exactly.
Yes.
But, I mean, you've identified the different kind of disinformation to watch out for. Can you give us an idea of what we need to watch out for? You say 8 of them.
Yes, absolutely. So the idea behind this is that we have covered off-cycle elections as the Nigerian Fact Checking Coalition. We have covered the main elections. When I said, okay, look, we now know, we have a typology of the kind of disinformation people should look out for. Remember, apart from debunking, we're also doing narrative mapping. We're also doing what we call media information literacy.
Yeah.
We've been doing that. In fact, if you had come to the situation today, you see that we're actually pushing out content even in Yoruba language. So the first one, which we saw today with the SDP candidate and the ZLP candidate, is fake candidate withdrawal, right? Where they will say candidates have withdrawn to support.
They say SDP candidate withdrew, and there is a statement to say it's a lie.
Thank you very much.
Withdrawn.
So definitely that party is going to be on the ballot tomorrow.
Yeah.
Violence images of out of context, like I've told you before, earlier ones. Yeah. Fake voter card reports. You remember that in one of the off-cycle elections, they said they had bought voter cards from people days before the election, which was not, we had recycled vote buying videos, fake endorsements, false claims about beavers. This is actually very problematic because when you say that the beavers is faulty,
it's not working.
It's not
it
working.
agitates the mind.
Yes.
Even some people will not leave their home. Once they go on social media, beavers is not working.
That leads to what voter apathy. You remember what you were talking to Samson about, that we do not want voter apathy, we want people to go out. But if you have claims that if you get there tomorrow, there might be a lot like beavers is not working. So you can imagine people will sit at home. Then we have narratives about candidates, that this person is this, whatever it is. And this for us is very important because we see a lot of diaspora people who are sharing certain narratives about different candidates. And don't forget that the diaspora population also has a very direct effect on what is happening.
Absolutely.
Here. Yes.
And they are heavy users of social media.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other part of them all is the fake election results.
And which we're likely to see a lot.
Absolutely. In 2015, in fact, what we saw was that people wrote election results on paper, put INEC logo, JPEG'd it, and started spreading it on WhatsApp. But now it's a bit more sophisticated, and we are available to debunk them.
Yes. So, I mean, you one of the things that I think is also key is to educate our viewers tonight to say, when you see it, how do you identify, what do you do? You say, before we post or share, you should ask yourself these basic questions.
Fantastic.
Who posted it?
Yes.
Can I verify it?
Absolutely.
Does it trigger strong emotions?
This is very important, yes.
Because most of these pictures are to trigger some emotion and a reaction.
Yeah, because it actually keys into our confirmation biases.
Yeah.
If you go on social media today, on X today, one of the narrative mapping we did was that people are now beginning to say, Ekiti people, and which is not particularly, and then the other one is the image or video authentic and could be a hoax, yes.
Yeah. So there are a few more things that are quick in verification.
Yes, yes.
So how do we verify the information that we see? Because there are a whole lot of them, right?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to pause, right? This is a very, very emotional period for most people. The political process, we want accountability, we want to vote a governor, a new governor, whatever it is. Please just take it easy. Pause, because if you post the wrong thing or an incorrect thing, it could lead to violence and people could actually die.
Search the
claim, yes. Yeah. Is it true? And then, in these days of AI, for God's sake, it's made it
But
easier.
how do we confirm that?
Yes.
How do we reverse the image search? How do we check officials? For example, how do we fact check a picture?
Thank you. That's a very good question. So, for example, for a reverse image search, many of us will get our images from WhatsApp and all of that. Just save that picture. Go to Google and load that picture on Google. It will show you where that picture has been used before. So, for example, the first picture we use, if you are not taking that picture, download it from your WhatsApp, take it to Google, right? It will show you that it's been used in Oyo. That means you won't share it. Yeah.
All right. So how we use AI to tackle, and there are many ways that you have identified.
Absolutely, yes.
AI, yes, you can use it to disinform or misinform.
Absolutely,
You can also use it to verify, for verification.
Yes.
And this we can do.
Yes.
And I know that it's easy to get across to Africa Check
and the coalition,
your organization.
and the coalition.
And the coalition is also working on some of these. But then I know you will find out so much more tomorrow. But this is a very, very important aspect of our program tonight. But I want to sincerely thank you, Mr. David Ajikobi of Africa Check. And he's also one of the leaders in the coalition of fact checkers who are here for the election. Many thanks, David, for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. We hope to see you tomorrow.
Yes,
after you fact checked so many.
We are
I know there will be a whole lot of that happening. For many